FASHA means for always supporting her authentically, for always supporting her authentically, starting with me. I wanted to get into just introducing myself on this platform. And I say this because supporting women, starting with myself, I think that is the most important thing. I've been married for over 32 years. And so I can tell you a lot about relationships, a lot about things, successes that I've been through, and a lot of things that worked for me and some things that didn't work. I always had this strong exterior, but deep inside things were, happening to me that I did not all the way understand. And I was left with being silent. I remember being a child, I mumbled a lot. And I don't know if I mumbled because I just wasn't sure of myself and I didn't want to be wrong, or maybe I thought someone thought I was supposed to be right. So therefore, that caused me to mumble. I had issues about my appearance. So there were things in life that I needed encouragement about. I needed reassurance about. I needed someone to just to lean on, that I could trust, and that I didn't feel like I could tell someone something and they wouldn't judge me. I always felt like I would be judged. So therefore, what happens? You get silent. You get silent. And that's what I did. I kind of shut my mouth up, and I just was that armor for other people. I just allow people to, pour into me, and I would give them advice, but I had no one that I could pour back into. I felt like my friend circle always told me things. And sometimes I was even kind of pushed to the side because I was a preacher's kid. And so therefore, what did I do? I went to church all the time, and I really got to know the Lord. I really got to know God at a young age. And I aspired to do right. It wasn't out of fear, like, oh, you're going to go to hell if you don't do all the right things. But from my understanding as a child, you were supposed to be a good girl, and good girls did good girl things. I was good to the teachers. I was probably like be called, the goody two shoes or something like that. I was called stuff like that my whole life. But that doesn't mean I never experienced trauma. That doesn't mean I never experienced trouble. It doesn't mean that I didn't have any issues. I had all the issues and all the insecurities that you never realize had those little pings in your life, things that happened as a child, put pings. You know how, like, when you have your phone and you can ping a certain location or pin a certain location. Well, in my mind, I had a lot of pins from things that people said to me that I just pushed aside. And my parents always told me I was beautiful, always told me I was pretty. But you kind of think, okay, if there's your parents, so they supposed to, you go through that ugly stage. I definitely went through my ugly stage. And I say all that to say this, just trying to give you a story about myself and why FASHA Supports exists today. It exists in me. Even before I had the name, FASHA Supports existed inside of me. I remember having a friend when I was younger, when I used to go to church. I had a friend who, every time we would get around that friend and we would be together playing and having a great time, just being a little girl, people would say, oh, she's just so pretty. She's just so beautiful. Her hair is so pretty. At the time when I was growing up, you had to have long hair and it had to be moving. So definitely that meant AKA a relaxer. You had to have that, or a perm. That was the thing. You had to have it. But, she had much longer hair than mine. And but it didn't bother me at all. I was just like, I had a pretty friend, but it was the people that would be around us that kind of really didn't realize, they just saw her and they would say, oh, she's so pretty. Oh, she's so adorable. Oh, her hair is so pretty. And I was invisible. I had short hair. I was kind of like lanky, had strong arms, kind of a strong build. And that just how it was, and people just overlooked me, and that again, those pings that happen when you're little, you don't realize those things will be staples in your life as you grow older, and you don't do anything about those pings that come. You don't even realize them, but though they're like a pin in your head. It's like ping, oh, that's something. And your brain just kind of keeps it there, and it sits dormant you get older until you get older, and then you get married, and then you get married at a young age, and you've never really dealt with the pings. You've never really dealt with rejection of feeling rejected, feeling not enough, feeling not pretty enough, not smart enough. You never dealt with those things what people say about you or to you, and they think it doesn't bother you. And as a little girl, it definitely bothered me. But what I didn't know is I didn't know where to place that. I thought that as you got older, it would go away. I thought as you got older, those things wouldn't matter. You'd be a totally different person and they would go away. Not necessarily. I found out not necessarily. I always inside wanted to be the person, or the person outside. I wanted to be the person that I felt like on the inside. I wanted to be the person for someone else that was encouraging to somebody else, was uplifting to somebody else, that I would be a help to somebody else. I always wanted to do that. I believe that goes with the scripture, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I really wanted to do unto others as I wanted someone to do to me. And maybe it wasn't the right thing why I needed that affirmation and that confirmation that someone would say, hey, you're beautiful. I think that you are just that encouraging thing to keep you going. Even though I did have that from my parents, but once you receive that from the outside, once you receive those negative images from the outside, and then you think that they shouldn't matter because, your parents mean everything. But that there's a thin line there because they're your parents. You feel like, oh, well, parents are supposed to do that. So it almost doesn't count. And so those pings that I was getting, never dealt with them. Now, I always wanted to be for someone what I felt like I wanted for me. Just that, like I said, I wasn't shy so much, but when I remember things that made me kind of withdraw, like I said, the times when people would say, people always notice, they would look at me and stare at me, and I'm thinking they're going to say something really nice. And what they say is, you have a big nose. No, really? And that made me shy away from wanting to look at people in their eye. So you see how this builds. All these things build, and they caused me to withdraw. And I wanted to be to somebody else what I wanted someone to be for me. But I never felt like I could say it because I felt like people looked at me as strong. People looked at me as, oh, she has it together. And that's just how I kept myself withdrawn, because I felt like, oh my gosh, if I tell people that I don't have it all together, then they're going to look at me differently. They're going to not take me seriously. Whatever fears come up, I had them. So I remember one time seeing this lady. I don't know. I always had this, like I said, this urge to encourage people and give them compliments. I never had a problem doing that. It was just natural for me. I said, man, when people work hard at the way they look, when people work hard at things that they do, and you can tell they work hard, you should give them credit. You should give them their flowers. So I remember seeing a lady. I don't remember where I was. We were at some place, and I saw her through the parking lot. We were walking into a building. She was going somewhere else, and I was going in another building. And I saw her, and she looked so put together. I mean, her hair was perfect. Her makeup was perfect. Her clothes, you can tell she coordinated. Like, she looked really nice. But you could just tell she was well put together. What I did is I on purpose, intentionally walked up to her and I said, ma'am, I said, "You look absolutely amazing. You look so nice." And I meant every word. She did. She looked so nice. But that's not why I said it. I said it because she deserved credit for the way she looked. And a lot of times, she probably didn't get she probably didn't get a compliment that day, because what happened after that? When I told her that, she looked at me like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much." And she cried. She cried right there. And I'm like, "No, she was like, what would make you say that to me?" I'm like, "'Cause you look really amazing. You look so nice." I said, "You just look so put together and so nice." Not that we don't look nice and we don't look put together, but when you put yourself together and you get your makeup and you get your outfit and you line it all up and it's all cute, you want people to notice. You didn't just wear it just because. I mean, yeah, you like it. It's fly to you. It looks great to you. But it's also nice, a plus, if someone says, "You look really nice today. You look amazing." You're like, "Oh, thank you." You're like surprised because you don't expect people to say something. But she cried, and I thought, God, I am onto something. I am onto something about this encouragement and uplifting and giving people credit where credit is due and making them feel good about themselves, making them feel, hey, whatever you're going through, there's hope. It doesn't matter. There's hope. But what I am trying to do is that's when I knew I was onto something. And I made it my mission to encourage women to be the best version of themselves that they could be. Because I know that that is what now in my life at 53 years old, that is what I am learning. Being married so young, I've learned a lot about myself. And I realized that all the pings in my life, I keep saying pings, but you know what I'm saying, the pins that people put in my life as a child, things people said to me that made me feel less than, that made me feel insecure, that made me feel not enough, that made me feel like, well, what's wrong with me? You know, when the guy likes this girl and you like him and he doesn't like you, and you think, oh, those things that people said to you, oh, he doesn't like me because he doesn't think I'm pretty enough. He doesn't think my skin is light enough. He doesn't think my hair is long enough. Just whatever. But those things I thought they go away as you get older. They do not. They did not. I relied on my personal experiences to get me through. And that doesn't always work because you have got to deal with those issues of feeling insecure, of feeling not enough, of feeling silencing yourself, quieting yourself. Where did all those feelings go? They didn't just disappear. They're still there. And if you don't deal with them, it will turn into your relationships. It will turn into how you treat people, how you act around friends, and you have to deal with it. You have to deal with it. So that's all I'm going to talk about for right now in my introduction. I want to podcast some more and I will let you guys know about how I got through that and how I healed and why FASHA Supports is for you. All right.